Corvette, now driven by Justin Bell, which you're on board with right now. Chris Knife has just got out. They are 4th overall in GTS, and Hans Stuck, who is behind the wheel of the number 7 BMW, is leading the GT category. Jeremy Dale, does it look as scary from the outside, traffic-wise, as we see here on the screen?
Well, I'll tell you, Derek, on Thursday night, they did run night practice here because they want to give the guys time in the dark. I went out during night practice, and that was really a remarkable experience to watch these cars. The Viper gets a little wide there, coming onto the back straightaway, locks the inside wheel. Corvette goes by. And I'll tell you what, the closing rates, when you get out there, and unfortunately the television doesn't capture it, the onboards do a good job, but the closing rates are just unbelievable, especially when you consider the GTP cars and the GT cars, with these guys running side by side.
Side by side rates, exactly. Look at this. I mean, this is who plays chicken here. Look at this here, the number 91. Dominic Dupuis is now behind the wheel of that Viper, but man, this GTS battle. Mark Duez. Is it Mark Duez in the 91? Mark Duez in the 91.
And that's a perfect example. If you're a GTP car, if you're a P car and you roll up on those guys side by side like that, where do you go? What do you do? And those guys in the P cars, every lap are throwing the dice about twice a lap, making decisions that are really on the edge, and that's why we've seen so much contact with all of these cars.
Yes, indeed.
You know what you have to do, because of these GTS cars are so fast on top end. As a P driver, you have to make yourself outbrake them in the brake zone. So you make that commitment, you dive on in there. Well, it doesn't always work that way, as we've seen.
Still on board, or we're on board with Justin Bell. Gets up to speed very quickly.
Did you see how much curb Justin Bell used coming out of 5? You can literally launch the car over that curb and get a real good run out of 5. The problem is definitely very tough on the race car.
You know, Jeremy, the one thing I saw last time, because the Corvette had a better line and was in fact faster, and it is faster right now, but watch top end. I think the Viper, once we nose over this hill, I think the Viper's going to open it up.
There's a Lola coming here somewhere. I know there's a Lola in this
debris flag up ahead, guys. There was a oil flag, debris flag right up ahead.
Oh, squeezes down in the braking zone. Justin Bell comes down inside the Viper. Yes, he pulls it off.
And there's that Lola behind the Viper. I knew he was close. I saw him rolling up at turn 6. There he is on the run down to 12.
Ooh.
So, Justin Bell gets down inside the number 91 Viper. Boy, these boys are going at it.
You know, you guys were talking earlier about the concerns that some of the GTS and the GT cars have about getting sideswiped by the prototypes as they go by and the like, and it has happened. But this track, sort of like Sears Point, is so serpentine that there isn't really a lot of straight sections where a guy can pull over, go by
or the P cars off
come
right
back
there.
in, yeah. So you got to be very, very careful. It's always bending and twisting, and like you said, Jeremy, it's a throw of the dice. Which way is a guy in front of you going to go? And you have to guess right almost. You know, it's an educated guess, but it's not a great one.
But by far.
And Dindo Capello leads away from one of the Panos machines down a lap. And what we're really interested in, although here's a big move, this could be, that is the number 3 Corvette, has moved down and inside one of the Vipers, picking up a spot. And of course, we're going to keep our eyes out for the 78 Audi and see if Christensen is able to march his way through some of this traffic and get up there and make this, even though it's an intra-team race, make it a race nonetheless.
And look at the Viper and the Panos coming down through the S's there, and you can see the Panos thought about diving underneath the Viper but didn't do it, which clearly was the smart thing to do. And you remember after the Newman accident, I said I wouldn't be surprised if we saw another incident down through the S's. And again, you know, I think we're probably going to see more of that with the closing rates on these cars and with the level that a lot of these guys are driving. I mean, Calvin was joking earlier, you know, whatever happened to endurance races where you just gave up 2 or 3 seconds in a lap, it's like these guys do not function that way anymore. Very, very dangerous situation for the safety crew.
I don't think there's a safe spot on this racetrack today with the traffic and people getting together. We've seen cars go off in every possible place, so they're going to look at this carefully. They'll need a tow truck to get him out, and I don't think it's safe to have the tow truck and the car in that position on the racetrack.
And you can see the skid marks there going straight off towards the gravel pit on the approach to 6.
Watching the number 4 Corvette, and right behind him now the number 34 Orbit-sponsored Porsche 911 of Leo Hendry, John Lewis, and Pete Barron. And there is our number 4 Corvette, which at this stage currently is the leader in the GTS division. Andy Pilgrim, Kelly Collins, and it's Pilgrim driving. They also share that, of course, with Frank Freon. And a good look at that machine down into turn 10, hard in the brakes. Here's the sister car, and of course one of the caddies.
It's actually less meat on the tread. They don't just shave it. It's actually a new mold. They brought that out at Texas, and what it does, it builds up less pressure and less temperature inside the tire. So they felt that really gave them more consistency.
Well, let's go back down to Sandy, who's standing by with, I would assume, another hot driver, Andy
Andy
Pilgrim.
Pilgrim just got out of the car. You surprised us a little. We thought you were going to go.
One would expect, and it is.
Yeah.
Very, very slow out there right now. We have to see, and oh, here comes later.
Whoa.
Oh, and once again, just that dive move.
That was not good.
But this 4-car is
Kelly Collins
way
behind
off
the
pace.
wheel. He's probably trying to get the car running or determine what is wrong with the car on the radio to the pits. But meanwhile, Later was coming through there, and they see him wobble around a bit like there may be some drive shaft issues in the back of the car, Jeremy.
Yeah, I was looking at the left rear
maybe?
wheel. No, it looks okay. I was
Looks
just
like
looking,
he's not getting, yeah.
Obviously, after a pit stop, the first thing you think about, hey, are all the wheels on? But
Yeah,
No,
it's
it's not.
wobbling.
It's
You
loose.
bet it is. Yeah, it's wobbling badly. That left, look, you can see
Yeah.
it, the left rear corner of that car shifting all over the place.
Oh, that's a critical mistake to make
Oh,
at this
man.
stage. Those guys are in the lead, same lap as the Vipers, and you can't afford these little mistakes.
Jeremy, we talked about it earlier, the execution of the strategy. You still need the speed these days in these 10-hour sprints, but you still got to execute, and that's a crucial miscue.
Oh. Slow down, Kelly. It's a
That's the
10-hour
thing.
race.
I
You
mean-
just got to get it back.
I mean, that
Keep
is
the wheel on the car. If that wheel comes off, he's going to do some big damage. You're doing 180 miles an hour, and you slow down to 100. You think you're standing still, but you're still in a dangerous situation there with the race car.
Now, normally, with these big nuts, there is a safety pin that if the nut backs off, it can't come off, so you can't lose the wheel. But those aren't that strong, and they can come off, and you can lose the wheel.
There's a good look at the number 91 Viper of Olivier Beretta. Carl Wedlinger is behind the wheel, however. And of course, with that wheel problem for Kelly Collins in the number 4 Corvette, Wedlinger finds himself in 8th place overall and in the lead in GTS right now, and better still perhaps, is on the same.
As to whether they would still include him within this team because of some of the race. Oh, he gets a whack. And on full tanks in particular, he has been right on the pace. Wow, boy, that just gives us a jolt in here when you see it happen because it happens so fast.
Well, the
No correction again. The number 4 Andy Pilgrim, Collins Frank Freon car right here has now gone into the lead in the GTS category. This is a battle that has now gone on for more than 6 hours. Viper Corvette 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, set up shop here. Here's the number 4 car, the Chevrolet trying to get around the number 92 car just to get his lap back. We'll put him back on the same lap. Frank Freon in that number 4 car.
This is the time of night when it gets to be really a lot of fun to drive because it's not so dark that you can't see yet the cool air set in, and it's very invigorating, and you start really getting into the mode.
Yeah, this is Boris Dirschenberg from Paris in France in that Viper. He's going to try and hold off Frank Freon here.
This is such a challenging racetrack to drive in the dark because of the elevation changes, because of all the blind corners, and this is a nice time to drive, Dorsey, but when it gets dark here, very, very tricky.
Now there's these two cars that come through the S's. We have a very interesting, wants to control this thing, loves to be in the car, wants to control his own destiny as best he can. Meanwhile, we again look at the Viper and the Chevrolet Corvette fight as the number 4 in the braking zone. Frank Freon down the inside, and they do say the Chevrolet Corvette will outhandle the Viper. However, they feel the V10 of the Viper may just have a little bit more torque, but that looked decisive in that for that Corvette. And of course, one of the Corvette drivers is now with Sandy. Sandy?
Kelly Collins just got out of the car.
As far as at the end there, I was just chasing down the number 3 car. I wanted position back, and they told me to catch it. They're a teammate, but if I can pass them friendly and smooth, go for it. So I was really sliding the car.
And is this the number 92 car? Yes, it is. So this is the fight here for the lead, because if the number 92 car can get up over the top of this hill and down past the pit lane ahead of the Corvette, This will be for the lead in the GTS category.
Vet.
There
There's
he
the
is, right side. Great pictures here. You can see this race unfold.
Oh, boy, I thought there was smoke.
Boy, she was smoking. Now the Corvette is going up the road. I think it's just gone up the hill.
I think it's just coming out of pit lane.
Are they coming out?
I think so, yeah.
Remember, 60 kilometers per hour in the pit lane is so slow.
Yes.
But this might be a little bit of a holdup right here.
Tension piece down the left side of the driver to actually make that almost a single seat cockpit, which actually makes it a lot stiffer. Move back to the GTS leader, which is the number 92 Viper, I believe. There it is there. The number 92 car, Tommy Archer, Patrick Heisman, and Boris Derichberg from Paris and France, strolling along their lead now in the number 92 car. They've done 322 laps, 1 lap ahead of Ron Fellows and Chris Neifel and Justin Bell in the have their own race shop in Minnesota somewhere, I believe.
Up
is
in
it?
Duluth, where it's so cold you can't even believe it.
Wouldn't suit you, would it?
Not me, I'm going to Florida.
Exactly. Yeah. And there is the number 4 car. So we now still show, officially according to the scoring, that the number 3 Corvette is still shown behind Tommy Archer. However, on the same lap, about 23 seconds behind, was the Viper with Tommy Archer behind the wheel. And every time one or other of these cars have stopped, the lead has changed. And that may be happening again. We watched the number 3 car, which is 13th overall, David Donahue, Dominic Dupuis, and Belloc's car.
And with less than 30 laps to go, we're absolutely certain that the number 4 car with Andy Pilgrim on board will be able to get to the finish.
I wonder will fuel become an issue between the Corvette and the Viper, and whether anybody can turn it into an advantage. Andrew?
Yeah, well, the situation is that the Vipers are all fueled up and will go to the finish now. There's no question or doubt about that. The 93 car just made its pit stop, and David Donahue got out of the car and Belloc got into it to take it to the finish. So I don't think there really is an issue here. I think the action will be out on the track. The Vets versus the Vipers.
Thank you, Andrew. McNish is livid.
Oh, trouble with the Viper. Locks up the brakes, is going to go off the outside just a little bit, and that is for position. The 4 car, that is for your GTS lead. These guys duking it out.
Look at this here. Can you believe after almost 10 hours of racing, they are covered by a blanket here?
Pilgrim all over the back of the Beretta, the Viper, headed down in the brake zone.
The brake zone, the Corvette was been good in the brake zone. Oh, look at the Viper, blocks him. Blocks him down to the inside, defensive line. 4 laps to go for the GTS boys. What a boxing match this has been for the whole day. Daylight. Here's the GTS cars. Very unsafe.
Very unsafe.
Well, guys, this is so big for the Corvette
Stand
guys.
back.
This is so big for the...
Going to catch the... There's the leaders right there.
3
The
laps
GT.
to go.
Oh, look at this.
Look at the Viper. Blocks him. Oh,
Inside.
the brake zone. The brake zone for turn 1. Oh, Pilgrim goes down the inside.
Oh,
the
he's
Viper's
out.
off.
He's going to have a... Oh, good save so far.
He tried to stop the move by the Corvette, and he wasn't strong enough. And now the boys can celebrate. It's not over yet. He's got 2 more laps to go. What a boxing match this has been in the GTS. There go the leaders. Hello, and Michele Alboreto, but here is the GTS fight. And don't tell me this won't be a champagne celebration. Chevrolet Corvette come home to win the first endurance race of the year. They beat the Viper.